Hello everyone, welcome to this week's Investment Trends, where we discuss the latest news in the stock market and the economy. So in a shortened trading week, we started Tuesday with one of the worst days that we've seen in about 3 months. So over the weekend, President Trump threatened new tariffs on Greenland and some of the other Arctic islands, and he imposed that these would start as early as February 1st. However, then on Wednesday, President Trump addressed the crowd in Davos, Switzerland, and he scaled back some of the threats that he made earlier and did say that he is open to negotiations and will have some talks to come up with a deal with Greenland. This led to a stock market rally on Wednesday and Thursday as the Russell 2000 reached an all-time high. However, as we are heading into market trading on Friday, we do see that all three major indexes are headed for a small weekly loss. This would be the second straight weekly loss for the NASDAQ and the S&P 500, so it's something to keep an eye on. Also in the news this week, we saw a rally on Thursday from Nvidia and also from AMD, as these chip makers are said to make a trip to China to try and negotiate more deals and more business with China. So something else that's in the news this week and is ongoing, as we saw earlier in the month with the capture of Venezuela's president, we do see that a lot of the energy stocks continue to remain elevated, as some of the oil production and exportation could lead to more profits for these United States companies, such as Chevron and ExxonMobil. Also in the news this week, we did see President Trump double down on one of his restrictions that he imposed and one of the ideas that he has around institutional buyers potentially buying single-family homes and banning that from occurring. So this did take one step farther. However, it would still have to get passed through Congress, so something to keep an eye on for the housing market. With all of this news, we did see earlier in the month a little bit of a reprieve in the 30-year mortgage interest rates. However, we did see the 10-year Treasury tick a little bit higher. Therefore, those mortgage rates, unfortunately, shot right back up to where they were in the mid 6 to almost some of them as high as 7% on mortgage rates. So something to keep an eye on. Obviously, President Trump is very aggressively trying to lower mortgage rates, also trying to make housing a little bit more affordable for all Americans. So it's definitely going to be an ongoing discussion, especially leading into the next Federal Reserve meeting and another decision to be made on interest rates. So that's all I've got for this week. If you're following any certain stocks or sectors, please leave a comment below.